All right, in this video, I'm going to cover what I've learned from spending over $1.7 million on lead gen. Quick background on me, I run this company called Leapbird. You can see a screenshot of my bank account. We have literally spent $1.7 million in probably the last 2.5 years. I've also ran a lot of companies in this go-to-market lead gen space. So if you really think about it, I probably spent closer to like $2.5 million if I had to be conservative. And these are my biggest takeaways. So the first thing, you cannot force a bad offer to generate leads. So many people think that cold emails don't work, that it's not a good channel, but cold emails are literally, all they are is they're putting your product, your service, your solution into the inboxes of your ICP. Whether they respond or not, it's completely dependent on what you're selling, right? Assuming that you have all the other stuff set in place, if they're not responding with interest, it just means that they are not interested in your solution. And so the quickest way to get cold emails to work, even if you're terrible at cold emails, like you write the worst copy, you don't know how to scrape leads, like you do everything wrong, if you have a good offer, you still will generate leads. So the quickest way to take a bad offer to a good offer so that you start generating leads is binge watch all of Daniel Fazio's content, binge watch all of Alex Hormozi's content. All they speak about is offers and how to reposition them, and they have tons of content there. One of the things that I've learned from Daniel is that you could just slap a tangible guarantee and outcome on your offer, make it seem less risky to a prospect, and they will be more inclined to reply. And so that's the simplest and quickest way to make a bad offer good. And here's the thing, right? Sales is fluid, right? If you guarantee, hey, I'll get you 90 leads in 30 days or money back, it doesn't mean that you have to sell it to every customer. If you get on a call with a customer and they're just a terrible fit and it's someone that you have no experience generating leads for, you can literally just say that and say, hey, I can't sell you this because of X, Y, and Z, but here's what I can do, but you're not going to throw a guarantee on it. And they will probably still purchase a lot of the times. Not as high percentage as the others, but they still will. And here's the thing. If you do not fix your offer, you will have to send 3 times the amount of emails and do 3 times the amount of work on the lead gen side, the prospecting side, the actual sales side. Your sales cycle will take longer just to get average results. So if you want to be able to rapidly generate leads, the simplest thing you could do is not try to research and find all this new technology or hire this other lead gen partner, is just fix your offer. The second thing I want to point out is that deliverability is the most important thing to make your cold email successful outside of the offer. And here's the thing, right? Like I can explain all the nuances of deliverability, and honestly, deliverability is changing every day, and not anyone knows with 100% certainty what to do. But here's what I can tell you, right? You could skip all of that and just go to the professionals. Go to hypertide.io. This is who we've been using for the last 90 days, and we have over, I think, 36,000 email inboxes with across all of our clients. That is getting great deliverability, right? It's cheaper than doing it in-house with an army of VAs or paying full price on just like Google inboxes. It's sending from US IPs from Microsoft data centers, so it's valued a little bit higher than these typical resellers or SMTP providers. It is automated. Most providers that are doing a similar solution to Hypertide, they take 3 to 5 days to get your inbox set up, and then you have another 14 days of warm up. Hypertide, it's legitimately an automated process. It's an app. You just put in your info of the domain you want to buy, the users you want to create, and then you check your smart lead account. In 8 hours, the inboxes are all there. So you don't have to worry about managing freelancers or managing some tech or doing it yourself in-house, any of that stuff, right? It's just automated. The other beauty is that they're putting you in individual tenants on Microsoft. It's not shared across the entire user base like most resellers. Some resellers, what they'll do is they'll put every one of their customers on the same panel, and what happens is that you typically share some level of reputation across all the other domains and all the other users, and then you get bad results. And Taylor Harlan, I think I might have spelled his last name wrong, so Taylor, if you're watching this, I apologize. Hypertide was the one that was outperforming all the other providers and all the other people that he was testing, including MailReef, Regular, Google and Outlook, and all these other resellers. So I have faith in Hypertide. And then the way we're building our Hypertide solution ongoing, and what Hypertide and Omer are about to make on their app adjustments is they're making it to where you could put 4 domains in one panel, each domain with 25 inboxes, so you get 100 inboxes total. And then what we're going to do is basically buy 2 subscriptions for each client. By the way, the subscription is $100 per month. It's cheap. And so for $200 a month, I'm going to have 8 domains across 2 different panels, each a total of 200 inboxes. So month 1, I'm going to use the first subscription. And then by the time the campaign completes, I'm going to run a smart lead deliverability test using smart senders, see how inboxes and domains are holding up. And then if they're holding up good, I'm just going to use them in month 3. And in month 2, I'm going to use the second subscription. So I'm going to do like an A-B switch. Let's say the deliverability is bad after the first month. I'll just order a new one. And great, now we fixed it. And then that's as simple as you want to keep it. If you do not know all the nuances of deliverability, stop trying to figure out how to solve it. You're just going to waste time. And if you're not a lead gen agency or cold email isn't a super established channel for yourself, it's just a lot of waste of time. That's all I got to say about deliverability. Here's the third thing I want to talk about. A lot of you guys see content from me and a lot of these other creators that are in the outbound space. And you're trying to learn how to do all these fancy things that we try to do. And if you do not have the fundamentals dialed in, stop trying to learn clay and all of these fancy things and just do the fundamentals. With the fundamentals, you can get great results. And if you could validate the fundamentals work for you, just doing the fancy stuff is like adding gas on a flame. It's just going to blow up. And then that's great. So fundamentals, bounce rate below 1%, good sending infrastructure, short, sweet, direct response copy, spin tax, a validated offer, making sure your domain redirects to your main site, make sure that you validate your leads, making sure that you actually format all the company names properly so they're not saying Leadbird LLC, that is just saying Leadbird. Those are some of the fundamentals. If you can have that dialed in before doing all the fancy stuff, you'll be at a much better spot. Cold emails are meant to be cheap. You do not need fancy software, especially when you're just starting out. Like, you should just keep your tech stack light. Use Apollo for data, Smart Lead for sending, Million Verifier for verification, and Hypertide for email infra. It's not expensive. It's not going to cost you much. Your monthly cost on all 4 of those will be like $200 to $400. Super cheap, and you could validate that this works for you before you really invest into it. The 5th thing is that a lot of you guys don't even have offers, right? Or what you sell, you position it to be a demand capture offer. So you need to learn how to make it a demand gen offer. So I'll give you an example of how to do this. And yeah, some of you guys will sell CRM development offer. So you work with, let's say, HubSpot users, and you basically just help them set up their CRM. And if you pitch that in a cold email, you're only going to attract the people that are on HubSpot, that are actively looking for someone to help them with HubSpot. And so what you need to do is reposition it, right? So identify a specific market that has a specific problem to your solution, or that your solution solves. So if I had to redo that offer, I would go and write something like, hey, I can help you book 10 to 15 more appointments on your calendar with no ad spend by just writing a re-engagement campaign in your HubSpot CRM. Interested in speaking. And now you just taken your service and you built an offer around it. We send well over 1.5 million cold emails every month. Across my 4 years, I've sent well over 20 to 50 million cold emails if I had to make an estimate. And the thing I've learned is that stupid personalization work, right? I've built a company called QuickLines. There's another company called Line that does exactly what QuickLines did. And we were the first in this space when it comes to AI cold email personalization. We really did pave the way. And a lot of people always gave a ton of issues with the quality of the lines. And some of the quality of the lines is 100% terrible, right? But if you take a subpar offer, and honestly, a lot of you guys watching this probably have subpar offers that aren't validated to cold traffic, you'll still see more positive engagement if you use something like QuickLines or Line versus if you don't use it. And it's best used in the PS line. And what I mean is that it's not going to change the results of your campaign if you have a bad offer, right? But it will make your bad offer stand out a little bit more, and you'll see more positive responses generally, just because there's a little level of personalization there. And that kind of takes me to my next point. The extra variables that you can grab from prospects' websites and tie it back into your offer will make your campaigns the best campaigns ever. This is the number one thing, but it's hard to execute at scale. And so this is like using something like Clayagent. We've built our own internal version of Clayagent to grab specific variables off of our lead list so that we could incorporate them into the copy. So a good simple example of this is like being able to, like every agency, if we're reaching out to marketing agencies, every agency has case studies on the website. So if I could grab the company name that's referenced in the case study and mention that in the copy and tie it back into my offer, like that's a banger campaign. The next thing I want to talk about is Waterfall, Enrichment, and catch-all verification. This will actually help you get the extra juice out of your campaigns. Most people just stop at grabbing their emails from Apollo, and that's all they do. And that's the easiest thing to do, and so many people do it, and they're blasting to these people all day long. But Apollo has anywhere from 20 to 30% that they don't have emails for. And I'd probably say it's actually a little higher. And so if you could take those contacts that you don't have a valid email for from Apollo and put them into a waterfall enrichment that uses 9 different data providers, and then you could take all the catch-alls that you get and you verify them through something like Scrubby. You're basically emailing people that don't get as many cold emails. And guess what? We've done the test here. If you isolate just your catch-alls or isolate just your waterfall enrichment and you take the same offer, you will typically have a higher response rate. So I highly recommend that you do this. But once again, keep it simple. Just use Apollo to start off with. Once you validate your offer, you got the fundamentals down, then start adding in this waterfall enrichment and catch-all verification. The easiest way to convert positive responses into booked appointments is simply by calling the leads. If you get a positive response, a lot of the times you're going to see in the signature, they have a phone number. Just pick up the phone and call them. Stop trying to do all this back and forth scheduling or whatever. Just speed to lead is the number one thing. Just pick up your phone, call them. If they don't pick up, leave them a voicemail and then respond to them via email and say, hey, I tried to give you a call. Here's my times I'm available. Let's schedule a call, whatever it is, right? And if you can't find their number in the signature, use something like Lead Magic. But if you just look online, I guarantee you 70% of the time you'll be able to find their personal phone number somewhere. And if you give them a call, you'll just have a way higher chance of booking the appointment versus doing this back and forth via email. Cold email is changing. So it's not just about spray and pray. Like 3 to 4 years ago, you could just simply get a list, verify your leads, get some inboxes, run it, and have a 7 to 10% reply rate. And you can still have that. It just takes more work. And so where it's going, right? The spam filters are going to get harder. And so you have to get more targeted with your campaigns. A lot of databases, they don't have the proper filters in place. And so like when you put in marketing agencies, like they're going to get you marketing software, they're going to get you marketplaces that have marketing agencies and all these other things, right? And so when you run your cold emails, you typically just have a mismatch in industries. And so your emails are basically going to someone and maybe they mark your email as spam, right? Because it's not relevant to them, which is highly likely, but also they just won't respond because it's not relevant to them, which is only going to hurt your deliverability. And so using something like 4.0 mini, right, to be able to go and see if this industry matches the industry that you're going after, and looking at the person's title to say, hey, this person is someone that can actually make a buying decision at most companies at this company size, is such an important thing to do. And I highly recommend it, because then, yes, you get less leads you're reaching out to, but it's just way more targeted and has a much higher chance to be relevant. A lot of people want to do open tracking, links, and attachments, and they're trying to optimize for those numbers, and those numbers are useless to optimize for. The only thing you should be optimizing for is booked appointments or revenue, right? So skip all that. Don't even worry about it. Just do plain text, simply put. And then you don't even have to worry about a lot of the deliverability issues that come when you start to put open tracking and links and attachments. Just do plain text. This is something that I hear a lot, right? They're like, hey, I don't want to send emails because I'm going to burn through my TAM and they're never going to want to do business with me. And that is just ridiculous. We send so many emails with us internally. And the very, very small minority of people will actually read your email and say, I'm never going to work with this person ever. I'm going to put them on a blacklist, right? But most people will not remember your emails, especially if you're spacing it out and you're switching the copy. A good example of this is Ramp. Ramp sends me hundreds of emails over the course of like 2 to 3 years. I don't remember a single person, and I don't even remember what the copy is, and I'm annoyed by it. I just ignore it. That's it. That's all. It's not that serious. You're not going to burn through your TAM. The only time I would say that is, let's say you're doing some ABM strategy and you only have legitimately 100 companies that you could work with and you're emailing them every month. Yeah, of course. They're probably going to get pissed off, especially if it's not relevant and a good cold email, and then they probably might not want to work with you. But a lot of you guys have pretty sizable TAMs that you could just run through. And that's simply put. A new thing I've been seeing a lot is just trigger-based campaigns. And I agree. Trigger-based campaigns have more relevance and you'll probably get a higher response and engagement rate and everything of that sort. But here's the thing, right? Most triggers don't happen enough. There's not a sizable amount or sizable quantity of amount of activity happening. And so yes, even if you get a 10% reply rate, but your lead list is only 50 people, that's only 5 responses, right? And so you should just think about automating these and just leaving them in the background and then seeing how they convert and just keeping it that simple. But still, I would rather send more volume with the direct response offer that's validated to my ICP than just set up 3 to 5 of these trigger-based campaigns and hoping that it's going to change my business overnight. The other thing too is a lot of people, they just go so hard on selling people in the cold email. So they're just pushing for a call in the initial pitch, and it's literally just like, hey, we do this. This is some case studies. Let's book a call. Are you free Thursday? And I think the best way to use cold email is to just literally be conversational. and seeing if they're interested before asking them out on a date. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Just make your CTA more conversational, strike the conversation. Once you get the positive reply, push it to book for the appointment. That to me is the best funnel when it comes to cold email. The other thing is that some people will write sequences that are 4 steps over the course of 2 weeks. And it's like, I don't think anybody likes getting a cold email, even if it's relevant, personalized, and all that, like all the good stuff is happening. No one likes getting emails just in the same thread happening on a 3-day period, every 3 days. Nobody likes that. So do 2-step email sequences. We even see this from our data. Most of our replies happen on email 1. More than like 70 to 80% of our positive responses happen on email 1. So why would I do a huge drip when I know that email 1 and 2 is where I get the most activity, right? And it's also, if I send someone the 3rd and 4th email, they're more likely to mark my email as spam. So just send 2, don't forget about you, life goes on. The number one thing that you're trying to accomplish with cold emails is crossing that barrier of trust. You're gonna pitch something, a crazy solution, and they're just not gonna wanna trust you or wanna spend money with you. And so that's the barrier you have to cross, and the best way to do that is have a good website with the VSL, with case studies, and post content across YouTube and LinkedIn. Because what they're going to do is they're going to take your domain name and they're going to go look you up. They're going to go to your LinkedIn page. They're going to look at you as the founder. They're going to go see all the content you post. And what does that do? It establishes you as the authority figure. And now they will book a call or want to hear more because they trust you. And in 99% of cases, the emails that do the best are the ones that are stupid simple, short, direct, and personalized. They will usually always outperform this long nonsense about your company and your biography and all this stuff. So just keep it short, keep it direct, keep it personalized. One of my favorite things to say to my team is that a 5th grader should be able to read this and understand it. And if they can't, then it's not simple enough. And so these are probably the most important 17 things that I've learned for spending over $1.7 million on lead gen.